Welcome to World Talk Brief. What can a single day's news really tell us about the state of our world? Well, today, we're going to take a snapshot of global headlines, connect the dots between some seemingly unrelated stories, and see if we can uncover the big themes shaping our reality.
So let's start with our first theme, global flashpoints. We're talking high-stakes international conflict and security. Our first story takes us to the Rafah border crossing. It's an absolutely critical lifeline for Gaza. Now, on paper, it has reopened, but the reality on the ground is much more complicated. The movement of people is incredibly restricted. We're talking just a small number of people per day. And maybe most importantly, no goods are getting through. So it's a signal that while there's a tiny sliver of access, control remains extremely tight. At the same time, over in Ukraine, the conflict continues to hit civilians in just devastating ways. A recent Russian strike targeted a bus, and this bus was carrying miners home from their shift. You know, ordinary people, far from any front lines.
And the human cost of this one attack is just staggering. According to Ukrainian officials, 12 people were killed and another 15 were injured. It's such a stark reminder of the daily life and death dangers that people are facing just trying to live their lives in the middle of this war.
In shifting our focus to the Middle East, tensions are really ratcheting up. Iran's supreme leader has issued this incredibly direct warning of a regional war if there's a U.S. attack. Now, this isn't just talk, it's being backed up by action. At the same time, Iran is preparing for live-fire naval exercises right in a key global shipping route. And that, of course, raises the stakes for everyone. So, from those geopolitical tensions, let's turn to our second theme for today, power under scrutiny. Here, we're going to look at stories where influential figures and even entire states are being forced to answer some pretty tough questions.
Newly released files have cast a fresh spotlight on the connections between some prominent Europeans and the late sex offender Jeffrey Epstein. Two figures who are right back in the headlines are the senior UK politician Lord Mandelson and, on the other side, Norway's Crown Princess Mette-Marit.
And these new documents, they contain some very specific allegations. They actually detail 3 separate payments to Lord Mandelson, totaling $75,000. In the wake of these revelations, he's resigned from his position in the Labour Party, saying he wants to avoid causing any further embarrassment. Now for a very different form of accountability, let's look at the border between China and Myanmar. The Chinese state has taken decisive and final action against the Bai family mafia. This group was running these enormous online scam centers out of Myanmar targeting Chinese citizens. The execution of 4 leaders of the family, well, it sends an unmistakable message about Beijing's absolute zero-tolerance policy for this kind of cross-border crime. And in a country still trying to piece itself back together after years of war, Syria's only female minister is fighting for real change. Hind Kabawat is making it very clear that her role is not just for show. It's not window dressing, as she puts it. It's about driving genuine representation and helping to rebuild a nation that is still deeply fragmented. You know, these stories show that accountability can come from legal pressure, from state action, or even just from individual integrity. And that leads us really nicely into our third section, the cultural zeitgeist, where we can see how public opinion and art are also becoming these powerful forces for change.
So let's turn to the music industry's biggest night, the Grammy Awards. This year's ceremony was a really interesting mix, a stage for both incredible artistic achievements and some very charged political statements.
First, on the music side, the awards celebrated a really diverse group of artists. Bad Bunny took home the massive award for Best Album. And in a truly historic moment, the track Golden became the first K-pop song ever to win a Grammy. That signals a huge shift in what the industry sees as mainstream global music. But the politics were just as loud as the music. During his acceptance speech, Bad Bunny delivered a sharp critique of U.S. immigration and customs enforcement, chanting the words you see right there, ICE out. And he wasn't alone. Other artists like Shabuzi and Gloria Estefan also used their time on stage to speak out against American immigration policies. It really makes you wonder, doesn't it? Is entertainment becoming the new primary stage for political debate? This crossover from art to activism wasn't just at the Grammys either. We saw a very similar dynamic play out at another major American cultural institution. So check this out. The famous Kennedy Center for the Performing Arts, which was recently renamed the Trump Kennedy Center, just announced it's closing for 2 years for renovations. Now, this decision comes right after a wave of artists actually canceled their performances in protest of the name change. It's a powerful demonstration of the real-world impact that politics can have on the arts.
Okay, so from the global and cultural stages, let's bring it all the way home. Our final section zooms in on the science of daily life, discoveries that are changing how we think about our health, our minds, and our own experience of reality.
Here's a question for anyone who's ever pulled an all-nighter. Is it actually possible to bank sleep? Well, according to some scientists, the answer might be yes. The theory is that if you get extra sleep before a period of sleep deprivation, you can deposit it, kind of like money in a bank, and it'll help improve your focus and performance later on when you really need it. This entire strategy is designed to fight something called sleep debt, and that's just the cumulative effect of not getting enough rest over days or weeks. It's a really interesting idea for how to manage our energy in a world that, let's be honest, feels pretty nonstop. And how about this one? This visualizes a feeling I think we've all had, that time just seems to speed up as we get older. Well, research suggests there's a simple mathematical reason for this. For a 10-year-old, 1 year is a full 10% of their entire life. But for a 40-year-old, it's only 2.5%. That proportional difference might be the key to how we fundamentally experience the passage of time. And finally, a discovery from deep inside our own bodies. We hear a lot about the bacteria in our gut microbiome, but scientists are now uncovering this vast, hidden kingdom of viruses that actually infect those bacteria. We are literally just scratching the surface of understanding how this massive viral ecosystem impacts our overall health.
So, from a border crossing in Gaza to the viruses living in our own gut, what does it all tell us? The headlines of just a single day reveal a world that is vast and complex, but also deeply personal and interconnected. It shows how global politics, cultural debates, and scientific discoveries all come together to shape the reality we all share. Subscribe to World Talk Brief for more clear, thoughtful explanations. World Talk Brief, news explained without the noise.